All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about something that's, well, pretty much the invisible backbone of the entire corporate world, Active Directory. Seriously, for decades, this thing has been running the show on enterprise networks, especially because it's baked right into Windows Server. If you've ever had an office job, chances are Active Directory has managed your every click, and we're going to break down exactly how it pulls it all off.
So let's just start with a basic question. Picture a huge company, right? Maybe 10,000 employees. Every single person has a computer, a phone, they all need to access printers, shared files, specific software. How in the world does a company manage all of that without it turning into total absolute chaos? How do you make sure the right people get into the right files, and more importantly, the wrong people get into nothing?
Just try to imagine the alternative for a second. You'd need one password for your computer, a completely different one for the sales drive, and, oh yeah, another one for the printer down the hall. It would be a complete nightmare, right? Just a mess of forgotten passwords and, honestly, massive security holes everywhere. That exact chaos is what Active Directory was designed to solve.
And that brings us right to the hero of our story today, Active Directory, or as you'll always hear it called, AD. It's the central command, the system that steps in and turns all that potential chaos into a well-oiled, secure, and manageable network.
Now, the textbook definition calls it a directory service, which is, accurate, but a little dry. The best way to think about it is like a digital building manager for the whole company. It's got the master keycard list, it knows who everyone is, what every device is, and it holds the keys to every single digital door. And its job is huge. We're not just talking about your login. Of course, it manages all the user accounts, but it also keeps track of every single computer and server on the network. It puts people into logical groups, like marketing or finance, so you can give permissions easily. It even manages access to physical things like printers. And maybe most important of all, it pushes out system-wide security rules to everyone and everything.
So how does it actually do all this? Well, the magic really boils down to two key ideas that work hand in hand, the domain and the domain controller. Let's take a look at how these two pieces build the entire puzzle.
First up, we've got the domain. The easiest way to picture the domain is to think of it as the company's entire digital territory. Every single computer, user, and printer that belongs to the company network, they're all part of this one domain. It's kind of like a digital kingdom, and if you're inside, you agree to play by the kingdom's rules.
And if the domain is the kingdom, then the domain controller, or DC, is the castle. It's the brain of the whole operation. This is a seriously powerful server that's dedicated to running Active Directory. It holds the master database of every user, every password, every rule. It's the single source of truth. Every time you log in, this is the machine your computer is talking to.
The login process feels totally instant, but here's what's happening behind the scenes. First, you type in your username and password. Your computer actually has no idea if it's correct. Instead, it securely packages that information up and shoots it over to the domain controller. The DC checks its list, says, "Yep, I know them," and then sends a message back to your PC that says, "Okay, let them in." And this all happens in the blink of an eye.
This whole process of central verification leads us to one of Active Directory's most critical jobs, basically building a security fortress around the entire company's digital life. See, because the domain controller is the one and only gatekeeper for every single login, it can enforce some really powerful security rules. It can make you create a super complex password and force you to change it every 90 days. It can make sure that only the people in the finance group can even see the accounting folders. And through a powerful tool called Group Policy, it can set rules for every single machine. Things like, say, disabling all USB ports to stop data leaks, or making sure every computer on the network locks itself after 5 minutes. The key is, security isn't managed one computer at a time. It's managed from the center, for everyone.
Okay, so this is all really cool tech, but why should you care? Especially if you're trying to build a career in IT. Well, let me tell you, understanding this system is absolutely 100% fundamental.
And things are changing, right? The traditional Active Directory we've been talking about lives on actual physical servers inside a company's building. We call that on-premises. But as everyone moves to the cloud, there's a new player, Azure Active Directory, which, by the way, Microsoft recently renamed to Microsoft Entra ID. Now, most big companies run a hybrid system, connecting their on-prem AD with their cloud one. And trust me, that introduces a whole new world of challenges in making sure your identity is the same everywhere. So who needs to know this stuff? Honestly, pretty much everyone in IT. From the support engineer on the help desk who's resetting passwords, to the system administrator who's building the servers, to the network engineer who's connecting everything, all the way up to the security professional who's hunting for threats, they all live and work inside the world that Active Directory built.
And that really brings us to the main takeaway here. Active Directory isn't just another piece of software you can learn. It is a foundational pillar of enterprise IT. If you want to build, manage, or secure a corporate network, you just have to understand how AD works and where it's headed.
So I'll leave you with this thought. Active Directory has been the undisputed king for decades, but now it's transforming, morphing into these cloud-based identity solutions like Entra ID. And that raises a really big question for the future, right? As our jobs and our data move more and more into the cloud, what's going to be the next big thing for managing who we are online? What's the next great idea that will bring order to the chaos? Thanks so much for watching.